Hey guys.
Hi everyone.
So in today's video we're going to give you our personal ship review from P&O Arvia.
Yeah, so this was from our week's cruise in the Caribbean. We're going to talk about the dining, drinks and the drinks package, the entertainment on board, service that we experienced, and a bit of an overview of the ship itself as well.
Just for a bit of context, this particular sailing was a 7-night Caribbean fly cruise. We won't go into too much detail about the actual flying aspect of it themselves because we have done that in other videos, but it was a 7-night cruise starting in Barbados, visited some fantastic ports which will also focus on the ship for this particular video, and ending in Antigua. Firstly, just a little bit about the ship. So it is the largest and newest ship in the P&O fleet. It holds 5,200 passengers and just under 2,000 crew. It has 16 passenger decks and 20 decks in total. It also has around 2,650 passenger cabins as well, so quite a big ship.
On board Arvia there are 4 main pools, there's 30 bars and restaurants and 8 entertainment venues, so there is a lot on board.
Yeah, they've also got an escape room, they've got kind of an assault course on the top deck as well, some mini golf. They've also got kind of a sports area where you can play a bit of basketball, play a bit of football, so absolute ton of stuff to do on this ship.
So when we did arrive in Barbados, we didn't actually step foot inside the airport, we just got off the plane and then queued up and got onto a bus. Then the bus took us straight over to Arvia, and as we arrived at the port, Arvia obviously came into view and she was just huge. Like it was pretty spectacular to see. Yeah,
it was very impressive. I believe one of the smaller P&O ships were in port as well. I think it might have been Ventura or Azura, not 100%, but yeah, Arvia kind of towered over that, and it was a magnificent sight, honestly. Yeah, really good first impression. Once we stepped off the bus, there was no queuing whatsoever. We got our photo taken for our sea pass cards and we stepped straight onto the ship.
When we got on board, we were greeted at the lift area and then we were told to go to our muster straight away. So we got that done within a few minutes, seconds it felt like. We just had to go to the glass house, scanned in, and then we were ready to explore the ship. It was good.
Yeah, and as we got to the glass house as well, that was our first time we were greeted with the main atrium on P&O Arvia, and that was magnificent. Yeah, the chandelier at the top of the atrium is really pretty and it's really tastefully done, and yeah, full marks there. It was the decor was fantastic.
Yeah, I remember being really impressed with how open it was, like with the big windows as well. It felt very light and airy and I really liked that.
You could see outside of the ship to the ocean from wherever you were, basically. Of course, we'll come on to the food, drink and entertainment as the video goes on, but we had a bit of time to kill whilst our cases arrived at the room, so we went to the Quays, grabbed a quick snack, which was fantastic, and then we went to the Sunset Bar and overlooked some of the Caribbean Sea, which was fantastic as well. So yeah, first impressions for me were great on the ship.
So considering it's such a big ship, and considering there were so many people on board, generally we didn't really find it to feel too overcrowded or busy most of the time. However, there were times, such as when we were doing a quiz at Brody's and it was absolutely jam-packed, like it was really busy, people couldn't get seats. That was for the music quiz. There was also times in the Clubhouse where we just kept on walking through the Clubhouse because it was too busy, so we just walked straight back out to the Sunset Bar area because there was no chance.
We have heard quite a few complaints when it comes to sunbeds and the availability of them during busy sea days. Now, we're not particularly ones for sunbathing, to be fair, so we can't really comment on it, and even if we weren't blessed with the sunniest weather during this cruise either, so yeah, either way really. Maybe somebody else can pop in the comments how they found the sunbed levels, but it's not really what we do on a cruise, so I'm not too sure about that, unfortunately.
Once our cases arrived outside of our cabin, it was time for us to have a proper look around, see where we were going to be staying for the week. So we did have an inside cabin for this one. Overall, we were pretty impressed with the space. We were only on it for a week. It might have been a bit tight had it been 2 weeks, bringing all the clothes from the storage, but we found there was enough storage for us for the 1 week.
We were on deck 15. We were just underneath the Sky Dome, which we'll come on to later on. We were on a saver fare for this particular cruise. We didn't bid for any upgrades, so we ended up on deck 15 in an inside cabin. This was in a great position for the buffet and the sky dome, and everything else that you would want to do on the higher decks. We will put links up top and down below if you would like to find out more about the cabin as well. So in this section we're going to talk about drinks. Now we opted in for the deluxe drinks package on this cruise. That came to a total of £49.45 per person per day. That pricing reflecting 10% off if you book pre-cruise.
Since we've been on board, the prices have gone up, so just have a check of that before you decide if it's right for you or not.
The deluxe drinks package does give you certain advantages over the classic, so it gives you access to more premium selection of spirits and wines. It also gives you access to doubles and large glasses of wine. There are a couple of cocktails which you can get at the pool bars as well, which you can only get on deluxe, although to be fair, the vast majority of the range is available on the classic. In certain venues as well, such as the Crow's Nest, we also found that there was a wider variety of drinks that you can get that are available solely on the deluxe package. It also gives you access to the tidal rum and the Golden Tide rum, which is actually created on board P&O Arvia, and I highly recommend that because it is fantastic.
Yes, some of our favourite drinks that we had were the Sunset Cooler and the Golden Tide rum, so we were getting pretty good use from that deluxe drinks package. One thing to bear in mind is the drink prices on P&O are pretty reasonable really. So that's one thing to bear in mind, whether you'd get your use out of it. There is also a 15 drink limit on alcoholic drinks, but you do get unlimited soft drinks as well included in the drinks packages, which is pretty good, so you get your coffees, that sort of thing.
I would say to have a browse through some of the bar menus if you can on P&O, because they really are very reasonable compared to especially some of the American cruise lines where drinks are typically more expensive if you buy the drink.
So we were thinking if we thought it was worth it or not on our last cruise, and we are a little bit on the fence with it. So we liked that we could just go up, we didn't have to worry about any prices or anything, it was already prepaid. That was a good thing. We felt like we had the full selection, apart from the odd cocktail which wasn't included in any of them actually. In the Amber Lounge I remember looking at one of the pages and it wasn't included on any of the drinks packages, and I don't think that's the best if I'm honest, but...
Yeah, I would agree with that. Totally forgot about the Amber Lounge. When you are on the drinks package, it does, I suppose, mentally there's always something limiting you from trying something new that you would otherwise purchase out of your own pocket if you hadn't bought the drinks package before. Personally, we like prepaying for things, so that's why we went for it on this occasion. I think if we did P&O Arvia again, we would try and pay our own way. Mm-hmm. And see how that ended up both kind of financially and in terms of, peace of mind, I suppose, that you get with prepaid.
Yeah, the fact the drinks are so reasonable, I think part of me thinks we might have overpaid. We didn't actually work it all out, so I don't know 100%, but I would be interested to see how we got on just pay as you go. So in this next section, we're going to look at the food and the dining options on board Arvia. So that's going to be the speciality dining and also the one that's included in your cruise fare.
Okay, so firstly, we're going to talk about the included dining options. Now, a little bit of a footnote here. Although we did intend to go to the main dining room twice, for one reason or another, we didn't end up going to the main dining room on this cruise. So I suppose that is a pretty big asterisk we need to put next to this section. One of the reasons I think that is the case is the Quays. The Quays has 3 options. You can eat at Fusion Asian Kitchen, which was a personal favourite of mine. There's also the fish and chip station called Hook, Line and Vinegar. And finally, there is a carvery in the form of the roast where you can get Yorkshire pudding wraps and all of your kind of Sunday roast type options.
Yeah, we found ourselves at the Quays a lot. So I started with the fish and chips. It was really good. The chips were so hot. The food there was like piping. Very hot. But the katsu curry from Fusion ended up being our absolute favourite. I think both of us just loved that so much.
So obviously doing this as a hobby, we were thinking maybe we should try out different new things, but that katsu curry was so nice. I'm pretty sure there were around 4 different vlogs that it was just, here's the katsu curry again, and we just ended up not filming it when we got it, but we got it a lot. And yeah, the Quays is absolutely fantastic and can't recommend it enough.
With the Quays as well, if you just go around the corner from the roast, there was also a couple of cold little options, like salady bits, and also some desserts that you could take away as well.
It's also open for breakfast, and in our opinion, is a slightly better option than the buffet. It's slightly less hectic. You can get fresh omelettes at the omelette station, and there's also outdoor seating as well.
We also had, a bit like the buffet option, a English breakfast, so you could just take the bits that you wanted, but like Dane said, it was less hectic than in the buffet. There was one bit that we didn't try, which was for pancakes and waffles as well. So the buffet on board Arvia is called Horizon. We went there once for tea, a lot of times for a midnight snack, and a couple of times for breakfast. It was pretty hectic when we went for a later breakfast, I found. The earlier you go, I think the less busy it is. The options are okay. I loved the eggs. I just need to say that Arvia's, or P&O's eggs were just the top egg. And he's pointing out.
They were completely circular, weren't
They were like halfway between a poached egg and a fried egg. It deserves a shout out. But I did find the layout of the actual buffet quite confusing. Sometimes I'd end up really far away from where Dane was sat and I'd get a bit lost finding my way back. That might just be me, but that is my experience on it.
I think one of the reasons we were there so often is because it was one deck above us and we were at the right position in the ship as well. So from our room, it would take less than a minute to get to the buffet, and that was, you know, convenience is great, and that was one of the reasons we were there so much. Personally, we feel the options at the buffet were a little bit limited. We've been on Royal Caribbean before, and if you have as well, you'll know their buffet options are absolutely fantastic. And to be honest, we don't think P&O offer that same variety of choice.
Yeah, we said at the time it felt a little bit Scooby-Doo, especially the one time that we went there for our main meal. That was a bit disappointing.
Late night options though, it was great.
I think it was brilliant though. I didn't see half the options in the daytime bit, so I really liked it, especially those little pies. They were good.
Yeah, the chicken drumsticks were good as well, to be fair. They had some curries on offer and they were good as well.
Another included dining option was a quick service called Taste 360. This was in the Sky Dome and it served things like pizza, burgers, chips, that kind of thing. It was just, you go up with your tray, get what you want, and just take it to the seat. It was very quick.
It was classic poolside food, I suppose. It very much did the job that it needed to. Yeah, big fan of Taste 360. And they had Nando's peri peri sauce, which is a huge win. Another included dining option is 6th Street Diner. This is an American style diner which we went to for breakfast. They have typical American options such as pancakes, waffles and fried chicken, and other options. The theming in here was fantastic. Once you got in, there's an old style jukebox, lots of cool pictures on the wall. They came around with a fresh pot of coffee for us as well. Or did you order tea?
Yeah, I think I had a tea, but yeah, I really like the feel of the place with the like American style booths for the seating areas. There was a lot of neon. It felt very bright and cheerful and a bit in your face at the same time, as all good American diners should be.
Yeah, we really enjoyed our time there in terms of the thematic experience, I suppose. We both ordered waffles and fried chicken, which was served with some butter and some syrup. We were a little bit disappointed by the quality of the food, to be honest. The chicken was quite dry, and that was the main ingredient on the dish. Yeah, and the chicken was really dry, actually.
Yeah, I think it should have come with a pot of syrup. That's what most American diners would do. So
yeah, we struggled to get anyone's attention, to be honest, and we'll come on to service later. But yeah, we basically just had what we were given.
Yeah, we did at the time say we wanted to try something else another time, but we didn't end up going. They do also do evening meals in the 6th Street Diner as well, but again, we didn't get round to it. There's just so many options on Arvia.
Yeah, including some that we didn't try. So there is the Olive Grove as well, which is a Mediterranean style restaurant, which we just didn't get round to doing because we had lots of other things to do. On a 2-week cruise, I'm sure we would have got time to experience it all, but we wouldn't feel comfortable talking about it because we haven't done it.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the speciality paid for dining. So we'll start with the Keel and Cow because we went there twice, and I must say it became a big favourite, especially on that second time we went. So Keel and Cow is kind of your gastro pub. They've got the best burger at sea, the Prime Minister burger, and they do also have what I think should be noted, the fish finger sandwich, which sounds like it's going to be really small, but it's massive and delicious. It's honestly, it became my favourite meal that we had. Would I say over the Quays? I think so. Yeah, it was just more than I expected. It was a perfect meal.
They had a great selection of craft beers on offer. I went for a banana flavoured beer just to try it, which I ended up not liking, but that's on me, to be honest. We got some bao buns to start on one of the days, which were fantastic. Kind of a bone-in, was it a duck wing?
It was definitely a duck, but I don't know what part of the duck.
Yeah, that was great. That was served with some hoisin sauce, which was lovely. We also got some barbecue chicken on one of the previous times that we went as well, and yeah, like Laura says, just firm favourite, Keel and Cow. Really, really reasonably priced, all of the speciality dining as well, it is worth saying. I would have a look at prices if you do plan to go on Arvia in the future, because they may have changed since we've filmed, but they are very good. Fish finger sandwich was so good that we've actually made that a Saturday night staple for ourselves now, so that's just how, I mean, it was great. The food there was great.
Yeah, I think that says it all really. We loved it there.
Next on the list is Sindhu. Now, Sindhu is an Indian style restaurant, and we personally really enjoyed Sindhu. The ambience of the restaurant was fantastic. They turned the lights down after a certain period of time. We were served some poppadoms along with some dips and some chutneys, which were a fantastic appetizer. I had the crab cake.
I had the tandoori lamb cutlet, which was phenomenal. Yeah, really good, standout star.
We both decided to get the same thing for our mains. This was called the Sindhu Signature Plate and consisted of lobster, duck and beef. I really liked all three options on there. It was one of the best meals of the cruise for me, really nice.
So this was the first time that we both tried lobster properly. Unfortunately, I didn't really like the lobster, but it meant that Dane got 2 lots of it, so I'm sure he won't complain.
I think I gave you the duck, didn't I?
Yeah, either the beef or the duck, so I didn't miss out either. So that came with some rice, a curry of some kind, I'm not sure exactly what it was, some naan bread, so that was good to share out amongst it as well.
Yeah, so Sindhu, just like Keel and Cow, was very reasonably priced. We'll pop the price in here. And yeah, all of these restaurants are kind of cheaper than, I suppose, land-based equivalents. Very reasonably priced.
Another paid for option is the Epicurean. Now they do an afternoon tea and they also do an evening meal. So we've been looking forward to the afternoon tea at the Epicurean, and we were greeted at the front. We'll get more into the service, but this really was a standout part for service. It really did make me at least feel really special. We were led to the table and we were given this sea-facing window, this view, which was just really lovely. I'll be putting some footage in here, I hope, so that can describe it better than what I've just said. But the afternoon tea itself was already out on the table. We did say we wished maybe they could have brought it out after we got there, just sort of a little bit of, I don't know, just something a little bit extra that could have been added to it.
Yeah, it was already on the table waiting for us when we arrived, which I thought was a little bit strange, but there you go. Now
the food itself, there was a couple of scones as you'd expect with the jam and cream, and then some of the other things were a little bit out there in my opinion. I'm a bit of a picky eater and I thought some of the things were just a little bit funny fusion of things. There was this dessert pot and there was just so much going on with it. I'll put a little menu snippet in as well, and it's not something that was particularly to my taste, unfortunately.
I honestly can't even remember half of the things that we had, but I remember it ranging from, you know, known classics such as, like say, scones with jam and cream, all the way up to the weird and wonderful and almost bordering on experimental kind of options. I thought some of it was really good. I thought some of it missed the mark a little bit, but the occasion did feel very special. And the view that we got outside of the window overlooking the Caribbean Sea was a highlight as well.
Yeah, I'd say it was quite a mixed bag for the food itself, but the overall would make me say, if you've not done it, I'd recommend doing it at least once, because the price was really good for this as well. Was it £24 for both of us? £28 I think for both of us. I'll put it on the screen, but yeah, I think it was definitely worth it for that.
Last but not least, we also ate at the Limelight Club as part of a dinner and show type experience.
It started with this bruschetta, which wasn't on the menu, as like a little appetizer.
So for starters, we both had the ham hock and pea, which was very tasty, and then onto the mains. I had the lamb with some, I think there was some couscous on there. It was definitely Middle Eastern inspired. That was very good. And Laura went for the beef.
Yeah, the beef dish was really good. I really enjoyed this. Again, it felt like little fancier accompaniments with with this meal.
And then for dessert, I had the strudel.
And I had a chocolate bomber. It was a bit like a chocolate mousse.
I remember both desserts. We really liked both desserts, didn't we?
Yeah, the food was good. I enjoyed the food.
Food was good in Limelight, and to be fair, so was the entertainment.
Hey.
And that is what we're going to talk about next. Just before we move on to entertainment, we just want to say if you are enjoying this video and you would like more, please do feel free to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel because it really does help out a lot.
So we'll start with the entertainment in the Limelight Club. So we had Matt Cardle on our sailing and he was phenomenal, really, really good, really funny when he's talking, and he was brilliant when he was singing. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Matt Cardle, big rock and metal head apparently. Yeah, Matt Cardle was fantastic. His voice was brilliant, really filled the room, and the audience were really good as well. This was on celebration night, so everyone was, you know, in their suits and their finest dresses, and he held the room in silence when he was talking. It was an excellent night.
Yeah, you could have heard a pin drop when he was performing. It was magical. It even made me cry to go back to the room and redo my makeup after we'd finished, you know, after his rendition of Power of Love. It
was a really good night, and we paid £28 per person for the Limelight Club. I believe the pricing can vary based on who the performer is on the evening. Matt Cardle, being an X Factor winner, I think is a little bit more expensive than some of the other performers that might perform at the Limelight Club. Also on board were the resident band Pulse, who were fantastic. They performed primarily in the Clubhouse, but did also do a night in the Sky Dome. They were great and highly recommend catching those if you can. Yeah, they were good feel-good shows. A different theme each night, so it went from like country to Motown, soul and rock and metal. It was a really, really, really fun time watching them. We've just mentioned the Clubhouse there. Now the Clubhouse is one of the primary evening entertainment venues on Piano Arvia. There's lots of really great comfortable seating, a little dance floor just in front of the stage as well, and we spent a lot of our evenings in here, to be fair. It was very busy a lot of the time, but it was where a lot of the main acts were in an evening. Yeah, so one of the acts we saw in there was John Clegg, an impressionist off Britain's Got Talent, and he was really good. We did find the later the performance, the easier it was to get a seat. I think I mentioned that earlier in the video, and that was definitely true for this performance. It was still very busy, but we managed to get a seat, and a good seat at that. There were typically 3 performances from whoever was on that particular day. So you'd have maybe an 8 PM, a 10 PM and a midnight, for example. Not sure if those times are exact, but kind of your typical format would be something like that. There was also a tribute act on board for Lady Gaga and Pink. She was pretty good. She performed primarily in the Sky Dome. I do think the Sky Dome's acoustics are strange, to be honest with you, and don't really support live music very well. But it was enjoyable nonetheless. We had a good time watching that. Yeah. There was another show that we saw in the Sky Dome, which was called X. That was a bit of a wacky show. It was, I don't even properly know how to explain it, to be honest. Hopefully some clips will help, but they got like karaoke, but then a voice changer on it. They're doing like jumping around, and just a bit of a mad show, really. It was absolutely crazy, and I enjoyed watching it purely for that reason. I didn't know what was going to happen next, and there was just lots of wacky things happening, and that itself provides entertainment, doesn't it? So yeah, it was fun to watch. So there was also the Headliners Theatre, which is where the main shows were to take place. Now, the first one we watched in there was called Sky's the Limit. So this was probably the worst thing that we watched on board Arvia from our entire trip. It wasn't a good show, and there was people leaving partway through. We didn't leave, but part of me wishes we did. We wanted to. Believe me, we wanted to. There was people in their dozens getting up and leaving after around 20 minutes, 30 minutes in. This wasn't the cast's fault, because we did watch a show later on the cruise called Festival. That was better. No one was leaving during it. If anything, it had some recognisable songs that you could sing along to, which always helps. Yeah, it was more feel good, it felt more upbeat, it was much better. But Sky's the Limit, don't watch it if it's on your show. I just, yeah. We'll link up and down to the video where we give our first raw opinions, I suppose, on Sky's the Limit, but I wouldn't. But yeah, Festival was much better. It was meant to be Greatest Days musical, to take that one,
but that got changed for festival instead, and apparently we're quite lucky because I've heard bad things about Greatest Days as well.
Apparently it's not really that much about Take That. We've not seen it, we can't comment on it, but we've not heard the best things, basically.
So there was also, on one of the nights, a silent disco in the atrium, and it was so fun. So fun.
It was very good. It was very good. I mean, there was a lot of people just like kind of stood on the top decks of the atrium watching you, which was a bit odd, but it was fun nonetheless. You kind of didn't really even notice them. But it was, yeah, silent disco, fantastic.
Yeah, there's like 2 channels to choose from. You select it on your headset, blue or green, and yeah, just everyone was having a great time. That was brilliant.
There was also a Cher tribute act on, which was meant to be fantastic, and we heard nothing but good about that from fellow cruisers, but we didn't go to that. There was also the 7:10 Club, which we managed to get into on a late evening.
Yeah, because it's one of those we'd heard you need to book in. If you've not got a reservation ahead of time, you're not getting in. But again, with us being night owls, we managed to get in for the late night showings, and yeah, we had jazzy take on metal, I think one of them was, and I've forgotten what the other one was now, but yeah, it was cool to be in Gary Barlow's club.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the setting in there, the seating was great. Yeah, enjoyed the 7:10 Club. If you wanted a bit more of a relaxed vibe, you could also go to the Crow's Nest in the evening. There would typically be a pianist playing, and it was a lot more of a intimate experience, I suppose. Just if you do get the deluxe drinks package, some of the drinks here were really good. You got a rhubarb Bellini, which sounded really fun, and I got this kind of blended Japanese whiskey, which was lovely. Yeah, really enjoyed the Crow's Nest. Really good place to kind of kick back and relax after an evening, or even whenever you want, really. It's just, yeah, the Crow's Nest was great. And lastly, I think it's worth mentioning, I'm not sure if they're going to be on future cruises, but there was a Caribbean band called Phoenix, and they were great.
So good. And they were a highlight of our cruise. This will lead into the daytime as well, because not only did they do the evening performances, they also did daytime ones, and they just seemed like they worked around the clock, but they were so good. Her voice was so good, and it just brought so much fun and the great atmosphere and vibe. It really set the holiday off when we heard them perform.
We did think the daytime entertainment offerings were quite varied as well, so they had a couple of quizzes on during the daytime in Brody's, which we always like to partake in a good quiz, so that was fun.
Yeah, we paid for bingo a few times, so that was taking place in the Clubhouse, and yeah, we seemed to catch the bingo bug. We've played that quite a few times, didn't we?
Yeah, we played it a couple of times, didn't come anywhere close to winning, but it's a taking part, I suppose. It's not with bingo, it's literally the winning, but we didn't do very well.
There was a music bingo in the Sky Dome as well, which was quite fun. So you had like a bingo sheet, but it was song names and artists instead, so they played the songs. That was quite a fun little activity in the afternoon.
Yeah, it was. There was also a Wallace and Gromit show on in the Sky Dome one of the mornings as well, which was very fun.
Yeah, it was good. They came out to check different inventions that we put forward, mainly for kids really, but we enjoyed watching it too. Nice little family fun, little start to the day.
There was also a couple of things around the ship to do, so we played a mini golf a couple of times, which was fun. They also had kind of an assault course on the top deck, which was a paid-for experience that we didn't do. They also had an escape room as well, which we didn't get around to doing, but there was a lot to do during the day, during those sea days, which is a good job because there was 3 on this cruise, so we needed everything we could get.
And there was also obviously the option of going in the pool if you wanted during those times, checking out the different venues on board. We did spend a bit of time playing pool in Brody's, and at the same time there was like a Mario Kart championship happening for some of the kids, so that was quite cool. I wanted to go really.
Yeah, I couldn't really, it's my turn now to take off a 6-year-old, you know. But no, Brody's had quite a bit going on as well, to be fair. There was a dartboard too, which was fun. I'm terrible at darts, but it's available to you.
There was also a casino on board. We weren't very good. I pressed one button and all the money went. Thankfully we didn't put too much on, but that's there if that's your cup of tea.
Overall, we thought the entertainment options on P&O were pretty good. If you take the theatre shows out of it, I would say that in fact they were amazing, excellent. Unfortunately, the theatre shows just knocks it down a little bit because I didn't think those were personally my cup of tea.
Yeah, really enjoyed everything else, if I'm honest. It was just the ones that I thought were going to be the main shows are the ones that I ended up liking least. But it is all down to taste at the end of the day. But I'm just glad that there was other stuff going on around the ship, in the Clubhouse, Sky Dome, that kind of thing.
Yeah, never wanted for anything to do really in the evening or during the day on those sea days. It did sometimes get a little bit busy in the Clubhouse especially, but there was always 3 different showings like we said earlier, so there was always a chance to experience it if you really wanted to. The final thing we're going to talk about is service. Now, underpinning all of the food, all of the drinks, all of the entertainment are the staff that are ultimately there to make your experience as enjoyable as possible, and we thought that it was a bit of a mixed bag on this ship, to be honest with you.
Now, one of the first things that I remember was we'd got ready for the evening and gone to the glass house, and we were sat waiting for 15, going on for 20 minutes, looking around, trying to get someone's eye, and no one came over to us. Dane ended up going up to the bar, even though we'd been told of people who'd been on Arvia previously that you would be served at your seat, and that was meant to be the case. So that left a bit of a sour taste in the mouth, I must say. Yeah,
so not a great start. We will say that we didn't have many problems with waiting a long time after this experience. There were also probably countless examples, to be fair, when I went up to the bar to get us a drink in, say, Brody's or the Glass House or anywhere else, and the waiter that would serve you, which is different to the waiter that makes your drinks, by the way, they have kind of a handheld device which they'll pop your drinks through on. The amount of times that I was greeted with nothing but a hand to give the cards, and then they'd just give it back and they'd never look at you once. It's fine, like, you know, I think there's an understaffing issue because they did seem genuinely really overworked, but just a quick hello even would really kind of elevate the experience into something much better than what we actually experienced. And that was a common theme throughout, no matter where we went, to be honest with you, whether it be the Clubhouse or the Glass House or even sometimes in the Sky Dome. Although, to be fair, there was one really good kind of waitress that we had in the Sky Dome who kind of remembered Laura's name and said hello and started a chat with us, and it's just those little touches that just make the service feel so much more special, I think.
Yeah, and that's what I'd have been expecting the whole time. I'd always heard that cruise service was meant to be better than anything you receive on land, but it just felt, Dane had said it in our vlogs, that it felt quite clinical, not personable, and I really do think that was the case. It was just getting the job done, but there was no friendliness there was no remembering you. It wasn't what I expected at all. And yes, they were busy and they were trying to get through it as much as they could, but it just wasn't what I was expecting. And that made the ones who were brilliant really stand out, like the girl in the Sky Dome. She was fantastic. There was a guy in the Glass House, again, who had a chat with us, and it just seemed unusual that they were actually talking to us, which I don't think should have been the case, but it is what it is.
They never got our drinks wrong. They always were quick, to be fair, apart from that one time in the Glass House that you mentioned. It was kind of like we were just an order to be processed as opposed to a person to be kind of meted and greeted and spoken to, I suppose. I don't know, I don't know. It felt cold.
It's not nice to think or say, but it felt like we were a nuisance by asking for stuff at times.
Yes, absolutely that.
And I don't like to think that, but that is how it came across.
Don't get me wrong, like, we're not usually sticklers for this kind of thing. Like, if food sometimes arrives a little bit late, as long as we get, oh sorry, yeah, we'll be out as quickly as we can, you know, we'll be fine. It just feels like maybe the basics of talking to people and service were just not really there. It was quite strange. Maybe a training issue.
Yeah.
Possibly quite a lot of new staff on board. It's just speculation, just like, you know, what we kind of experienced. Just on the ease of service, once we were 2 or 3 days in, we kind of just got used to the fact that we'd have to go to the bar when typically they would serve you when you sat down. We just got used to going up instead. We changed our behaviour around the waiters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know if it's just during the Caribbean run, heard that during the Mediterranean there was more staff and it was more table service, so we might have just been unlucky, but we can only go off what we've actually experienced, which was this.
So with all that being said, the cost. How much did we pay for a 1-week fly cruise in the Caribbean, seeing some of the most wonderful ports we've ever been to? As we said earlier, we paid for a guaranteed inside cabin room for 2 people, and we paid £999 per person for that, so in total £2,000 give or take. And we also paid £630 for the drinks package. So that brought the total without any speciality dining to something like £2,630. Now, we think this represents fantastic value for money.
Yeah, I just feel like we can't really complain at that price. It was a fantastic price for including the flight as well. But yeah, definitely great value for money, budget friendly. If it wouldn't have been such a good offer, I don't know if we ever would have even tried out the Caribbean. So I'm really glad that we managed to get it at this price.
Absolutely, it just made it really accessible for us. And just in case there's any ambiguity, that cost includes you flying to the Caribbean and flying back. Like I say, the less said about the airline that flew at the time, the better. If those who know. But the value for money was really excellent.
So we've had a couple of months to reflect on that trip. At the immediate end of it, my opinion is much different than it is now. I first of all didn't see myself doing another P&O cruise, and after looking back, thinking back, overall, I've changed my mind, and I would try P&O again, and I would even try Arvia or Iona.
Yeah, same here. When we first got off the ship, I feel like the service, and it is worth saying as well, we were coming off the back of our first ever cruise, which is on Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas. The service on there was fantastic, like absolutely incredible. Nothing like anything we've ever experienced before. So I think that was at the forefront of our minds when we first got off.
Yeah, we couldn't help but compare it to Symphony of the Seas, and it was lacking compared to that. But we realised not everything can be exactly the same as that. It wasn't the same price for a start. You get what you pay for, and there were certain aspects where it actually did excel, like the food I think was excellent on P&O. Really good, really good.
Yeah, the food was fantastic. The entertainment was also fantastic. The individual components that make up the food, the entertainment, the drinks, in my opinion, were all really good. Mm-hmm. It was just let down by the service a little bit, and I hope that they're managing to remedy it moving forward, because it's all it's missing, I think. I think I would do it again.
Yeah, I'd give it a second chance.
So I suppose the main question we need to answer is, did we enjoy ourselves? And I think we did. Like I say, the entertainment, the food and the drinks were all fabulous. We particularly loved the ports. St Martin and Tortola were standouts for us. La Romana, we had something booked but subsequently got cancelled. We won't go into that. But we really enjoyed our time on Arvia in the Caribbean Sea. Yeah, ultimately, I think we enjoyed ourselves. I think that comes across in the vlog series that we've got, shameless plug, but we have got a whole series on P&O Arvia as it happened, I suppose, if you do want to check that out. But I would definitely do Arvia again.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, and it was our first taste of the Caribbean. It's made us want to go back.
We do actually have another Caribbean cruise planned, if you do want to stay tuned for that. It's happening in February 2025. And we're going to be sailing the Southern and Eastern Caribbean on Marella Discovery as part of their Exotic Islands cruise. We're really looking forward to it, and we hope you enjoy it too. Just wanted to say that this video represents our own opinions and experiences whilst we were on board. It may differ wildly, and we know that it has for other guests aboard P&O Arvia. So if you disagree with anything, or if you have any tips and tricks to get around some of the problems that we've highlighted, or even if you just want to pop a comment in just to say hello or help out some other cruisers that might be watching this video, then yeah, please do feel free to comment, because we welcome them and we welcome the discussion. With that being said, everyone, if you have liked this video, please do feel free to give us a big thumbs up.
And do subscribe to the channel for our future videos as well.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.